Guard these with your life cam.
Oh. Did you talk about the budget?
Oh, yes, and
With
I,
John?
right, and told, told the rest of the Board of Selectmen that we'd be reviewing it tonight and voting on it.
Okay.
What's that?
The
The
budget.
budget,
Oh, the budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I had talked to John about it.
Yep.
And I said that you weren't here one night and we didn't, didn't have the paperwork and I told him that, that you did know about it, but we wanted more, we didn't have enough paperwork.
yeah.
He only gave us like one sheet with a bottom line number on it. We needed to
Yeah.
go over all the,
Right.
yeah, and he realized that, so we were all set on that. We'll have to wait 10 more minutes. Yeah, so hopefully they'll progress on
Mhm.
that. Bill and I and Bob did go over to Candia. Did you ever go over there?
No,
Okay.
yeah, I forgot all about it.
That's all right.
Well, that was having having my driveway sealed.
Oh,
That's what the problem was.
yeah. So we did go walk the site. Obviously, one of the things that I picked up on was that it would make it easier for Deerfield to maintain the road if we had, 15 feet easement on the front of all those lots.
Yep.
Because right now, the water's all funneled down the road. There's a rock
no
wall,
ditches.
there's ledge on the Deerfield side on, what would that be, the north side?
North side.
Yeah, the north side. And the south side, there's a rock wall there. That whole front, along that frontage, probably could be graded down
Mm-hmm.
and allow the water to go, put the best ditch that they can get in there
Yep.
to get the water from just funneling down the road.
Right.
Because there is a place for it to go. So if we could get,
They said, they're putting all the houses back away from the road anyway, so.
Mhm.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, we just
Really
need it for
interfere with
maintenance.
that.
It'll just
Yeah,
make it
right.
easier for us to grade it,
Yep.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and at least take care of that, because
Mhm.
that road's not getting paved.
Yeah.
That's not getting paved.
It'll be a long time before that happens.
Yeah, I don't think we'll see it. So, that was the biggest thing I had come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Bill was there, Bob was there.
Yep.
One of the homeowners did come out, kind of told us what he thought and, what it was like. But, the main thing is that it's just a matter of a little more maintenance area for the town, make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
There was a tree that was on the north side of the road, which we all kind of
couple of
figured that needed to just go.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that they were still there.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they were actually affecting how they take care of the road.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were on,
That's not a scenic road, is it?
No.
I don't believe so.
No.
and, they just should have been taken down years
Yeah,
ago.
right.
It kind of like you have to avoid them to plow the road or
Mhm.
grade the road and just get rid of those. And that would certainly help that little stretch right there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the only thing they're gonna clear the
Corner.
one corner there, which is gonna
So they
give
get the
a better line
line
of
of
sight, and they can pretty much get all that out of the way, which
Yeah.
should make it pretty good,
Yeah.
Is that-
would make it better.
Yeah, there's only actually four coming out in Deerfield, on the Deerfield side. The other
Yeah.
one's coming out in Candia, so.
Is that this corner up here?
They're
Yeah.
gonna be cutting back into here.
Oh, okay.
So there's a driveway that's supposed to come out somewhere in here, and this is another lot here, but that's in Candia, I think.
Yeah, right.
So, but they're gonna have a line of sight that's gonna go across this.
Yeah.
So it'll make a big difference then, if they can cut that down. And from this whole side,
Where the driveway's
gets to a
at.
certain point, it's pitching to this area.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to this
Yeah.
wetland here?
And what's happening is that the water is just going down the road and then over. if we could get this, we could possibly get a ditch over there,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or at least, you know, we could get an easement, we could ask them to clean all that stuff away,
Yeah.
you know?
Is that something we could just call for the developer to do?
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's have them take the, you know, let's ask for 15 feet,
Mm-hmm.
and clean it out and put a ditch in,
Yep.
you know?
Yeah.
Because, you know, if we can get a ditch all the way, it goes this way and that way. So it, it breaks somewhere about this lot,
Mm-hmm.
and then it will start going back this way.
Yep.
And, you know, if we could get a ditch on this side and a ditch over there, that would certainly help.
The trees are someplace in here?
Yeah, there's a couple of trees, like literally, you know, on this side of the wall.
Oh, wow.
The poles are right on, almost in the road.
Yeah, and the poles are, the poles are run right on the edge of the road.
Right, yeah.
But if we're not gonna get the poles moved right now.
Yeah,
But at
right.
least if we, you know, get
We
this,
can
we
still
could get a
get a
ditch
ditch.
behind the poles,
Yeah.
you know?
So we could conceivably require that they remove those trees and ditch that and provide
Well, there
an
there won't be a ditch here. Well, excuse me, because this is already low.
Okay.
From about this property line is already low.
Going back this way.
So back this way.
Yep,
up,
okay.
And then it will go this way
Mhm.
and that way.
Yep.
And this stretch right here will probably go that way. It's
Mhm.
just this tiny little segment right here
Right,
that would go that way.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay,
I think that would be kind of what we're looking for.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
It's just, you know, just to help.
Well,
It's
anytime.
really narrow only because the poles are all there
Mm-hmm.
and there's, you know, obviously that's the boundary.
Yep, right.
I just think we need to, the boundary can stay where it is, we just need a road maintenance easement.
Yeah, okay.
And over here, we need to take care of some stuff, the town does.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Some trees and stuff that need to come down over there.
Right,
And, I mean, it's not gonna make it a highway, but
yeah, right,
it's certainly gonna help.
right.
Well, at least we'll get a ditch in there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you know, it's gonna be a little rough going, but you know, they can at least get it cleared out and
Mm.
get it in there.
Yeah.
I guess somebody else is doing something too on Chester Turnpike. I don't know why that, this has nothing to do with us, right?
Yes, it
This has,
does. No,
this
this one
one
doesn't.
doesn't.
Oh, no, no.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I was
just
gonna
that-
say, this is Chester Turnpike.
Oh, no, no, the first one is the Courier
Right.
Road one, the hearing, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the notice,
Yeah.
and these are the plans,
All right, cool.
which you can pass out. I guess it's three sets. 4 sets, I don't know. I think Cam has one.
I have a set.
You
yeah.
got a set,
You
yeah.
have a set. Okay, I'm gonna call the application for a public hearing for a conditional use permit for Public Service DBA Eversource, map 408, lot 49. In accordance with the section 2110.6 of the Deerfield zoning ordinance, you are hereby notified that Deerfield Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, at 7:15 PM at the George B. White Building to consider an application for a conditional use permit for the Public Service Company of New Hampshire, DBA Eversource Management, 13 Legends Drive, Hooksett, New Hampshire, for the property located in Deerfield, New Hampshire, identified as tax map 408, lot 49, consisting of 64 acres. The intent is to conduct utility maintenance of the C-129 115 kV transmission lines, including the replacement of structures and 1 and 2, including guy wires on structures 1. Construction requires impacts on wetland conservation district. You are hereby You are invited to attend the public hearing and offer your comments. If you are unable to be present, the board will accept your comments in writing and read read the letter at the hearing and the Deerfield Planning Board. Okay. Who's taking it away?
You want to accept it first, or
Um,
do you want to
We
wait?
accept the application?
I'll make a motion to accept the application.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. You got an easel or? Okay, that's fine. We don't have one, though.
We got some money in our budget
For an easel.
for stuff. We should buy one.
A lot of people, Tobin brings one in every time he
Hold
comes.
on, sure.
They keep getting lost.
Okay.
They disappear.
Yeah, we'll have to get one made out of concrete. Okay.
All right, thank you for hearing us tonight. I'm Sherry Treffry with VHB, representing Public Service Company of New Hampshire, DBA Eversource Energy. With me, I have Ryan Fredette, who's the project manager on this project for Eversource, requesting a conditional use permit, as you said, for the structural replacements on the C-129. This project is part of ongoing maintenance, maintenance program that Eversource is conducting year to year. They inspect the poles and make recommendations to engineering for ones that should be replaced. Engineering deems which ones should be replaced, and then usually due to condition, these are wood poles that are sort of reach the end of their life, and as they're inspected and they look for woodpecker damage or internal rot from just the exposure over the years. They are undergoing replacement of all of these transmission line structures with steel structures to sort of update them to current standards and materials and make them last for years to come. So this particular application is looking to replace structure 1 and structure 2. The line, the 115 kV line, comes out of the substation. Both of the structures are on Eversource's property. The first structure would be accessed via the substation driveway, and they will come in on the paved road, and then there's an access road that's already established that goes around the backside of the substation. There's a culvert there with a stream that runs through it, so the road goes over the culvert, and they'll come around the backside. They'll establish the work pad. The structure 1, is partly within the delineated wetland. They will be establishing the work pad using wetland matting, timber matting. And the reason for sort of this awkward shape that we have on there is that it's right adjacent to another transmission line structure that has anchors that need to be avoided. So we've designed that work pad to avoid those anchors. You can see on your plan, they're the circles with the X's through them. Those are the current guy anchor locations. So they'll establish the work pad. There is a bunch of speckled alder out there that's relatively tall, so they will have to hand cut and mow this area a bit to be able to lay the mats flat. So that's pretty much the extent of the ground preparation that will need to be made to place those mats. We've designated an area on the hill slope behind the substation to be a spoil area for the excavation when they're doing the drilling. So if they need to spread soils, they'll be spreading those in that upland area. They'll replace the structure. This one is at an angle and will have anchors. They'll be using the screw type helical anchors to screw them into the ground to minimize impacts to that wetland. And they have to replace it in its current location due to the fact that it's on that angle. So the existing location of that structure will be the proposed structure location. The next structure is structure 2. This one will be accessed from Kate Road. There is an existing access way that comes off of Kate Road onto the right-of-way area. There is a stream and a wetland located right within that right-of-way area. They'll be placing matting at that location in such a manner to not restrict flow for that stream. That's 750 square feet of temporary impact for laying that matting. And structure 2 does not require any wetland impacts to access it. What we've shown here on the plan is just where they're gonna be disturbing the ground as they set up their equipment. We tried to take advantage of the topography that's there. Again, you can see the anchor locations from the adjacent structures, so that's giving it that sort of odd shape. We'll establish sediment erosion controls between the work area and the wetland. The wetlands are down gradient from the structures sit on a little knoll out there, and the wetlands are lower down. So we'll establish erosion controls and then utilize that area and come in to avoid any wetland impacts to those wetlands there. So we'll need just temporary access impacts through that right-of-way to get access to structure 2. Structure 2 is offset slightly from the existing location, so it will be set back a few feet from its current location when it's installed. So structure 1's a 3-pole structure, structure 2 is a 2-pole structure, and they'll both are wooden structures that will be replaced with steel structures. So the temporary impacts were 6,122 square feet for structure 2 and 750 square feet for structure, for structure 1 was 6,122 square feet. Structure 2 is 750 square feet for a total of 6,872 square feet of total impact required temporary. Once the construction's done, they'll remove those timber mats and reestablish the wetlands if any type of vegetation. The work is proposed to be done on,
The outage dates are October 29th through November 2nd, and prep work would commence basically as soon as we have the permit in hand.
so if the weather stays warm, they can seed. Usually October 15th is usually the time when we don't recommend it. It's been pretty warm so far. If it continues, then they'll probably be able to get some seed growth once they're done, if it's at all necessary, after removing the timber mats from those areas. That's it for my presentation. Happy to take questions.
Yeah, could you go through the highlights of your presentation, but using the figure that you have there and pointing out the location of the structures, access, where that will be coming from, so that anybody in the audience is specifically interested in this? Jim?
Jim?
Jim is.
Just my biggest question tonight is, we've had a lot of problems in that area. in the
Well, let her.
But no, we just,
Okay.
show us structure 1 and structure 2, so everybody here will know what you're talking about.
Okay, so here's Cape Road here. Here's structure 1 down here behind the substation, and this one right here is structure 2.
Okay,
And so the wetland impact is here in this work pad area, and then here in this access area. The spoil area is right here,
Yeah,
and erosion controls would be set up here, and then here, and over here.
so the access,
are you coming through the fence, or are you going around the fence? To get to structure 1, around it?
Around the fence, yep.
Okay.
So paved road, and then the dirt road comes down here, there's a culvert right here by that stream, and then come around here. And that's out of the wetland.
and the access for structure 2 would be coming directly off Cape Road further on down? Yep.
Yep, Cape Road, and then onto this.
There's a
access
gate there,
road
right?
there.
I think there's an existing gate there.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, do you have any detail of of what the 2 structures are going to look like?
I have sort of, I don't have a 3-pole structure, but I have a 2-pole H-frame type structure.
Is that,
That's what we have
that's
included
that
here?
one? Okay.
Okay. And so the poles themselves would be metal?
Yes.
Correct.
But assume they're not stainless, but what would they be?
It's Core-10, it's a weathering steel.
Okay.
The construction is very similar design to what's currently in place as
Mhm.
far as the appearance.
And let's see, so the anchors themselves, what would be this multi-helix anchor?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
So, if you get a conditional use permit, you guys really want to get going before it starts raining, right?
Or snowing,
Or snowing.
yeah.
Well, let's talk about rain, not snow. I don't want any snow. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what I see and what they want to do.
Cam did provide.
Yeah,
Cam-
I'll read Cam's notes first. One, the Eversource conditional use permit application for utility maintenance, map 408, lot 49, transmission line C29, 129, 115 kV. The replacement of structures 1 and 2 replace the guide wires on structure 1. Planner's comments. Sylvia and I have reviewed the plan, application set, and note the following. Applicant proposes to replace 2 structures identified in the plan shown on pages 1 and 5 of the plans. The plans show a total of 6,872 square feet of wetlands impacts. The applicant intends to utilize existing access roads, minimize the impacts to the wetlands. The plans provide generic information regarding the structure size. It may be beneficial to know the size of the structures to better understand what impact maintenance and replacement will have on site and abutting wetlands. For instance, on page 1 of 5, structure 1 is about 18 feet from the edge of the limits of mowing and cutting. 18 feet may or may not provide enough workable area depending on the size of the structure and equipment involved. I have no issues with the application, but would like to know more information regarding the structure size and any equipment needed to perform the structure's replacement. For reference, conditional use permit, section 210.6 of the Deerfield zoning ordinance states the following. A conditional use permit may be granted by the planning board for the construction of roads and access ways for the utility pipelines, power lines, and other transmission lines, provided that all of the following conditions are found to exist. The proposed construction is essential to the productive use of land not within the wetlands conservation district. The design and construction methods will be such to minimize detrimental impact upon the wetland and will include restoration of the site as nearly as possible to its original grade and condition. And no alternative route which does not cross a wetland or has not been detrimental impact on the wetland is feasible. Economic advantage alone is not the reason for proposed construction. And she has provided Google Earth pictures of the site, which you guys did too. Mr. Page?
Just want to bring out the fact that there was very poor monitoring when the work was done. What are we, almost 2 years down the road, and there was a tremendous mess there. And we all got together and met, and hopefully that doesn't happen again.
I think we kind of got that one squared away,
I wanna-
because obviously people will be watching.
And I think it's Eversource that needs to put their foot out. This guy's out there working hard
You've
with
got
his
one
crews.
What's that?
I happened to be in a very nearby town here not too long ago, and there's major Eversource work
You've
going
got
on.
one.
And it was a pretty major wetland, and there was a lot of rain forecast several days in advance. Construction work continued. All the pieces were put together by the contractor to make it happen. The rain happened on a Friday night, overnight, there was several inches of rain. I happened to be there because I have several projects, construction projects in the area myself. And I have to go by the Eversource project Saturday morning. Nobody's around, the dams are blown out, everything's gone, mud's running down the brooks and everything else. And the pumps were down because nobody even maintained them. And I continue to see, and I'm a construction person, that things aren't monitored, they're monitored after the fact. The first Eversource people, because I happen to be right there working on another project about 200 feet away, the first Eversource people that showed up to do anything about the wash and everything else was 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, and prior to that, the contractor had finally one person showed up about 10 o'clock in the morning and at least turned pumps on. But it seems to be a track record. There's one other thing that bothers me, that's out of sight, out of mind, down there by the substation. You've just completed major work on the side of 27 out here. There's been a number of structures replaced right there. This is fair weekend. Take a ride out there and head into town on 27 and look at the pile, the junk pile that's up there. You know, we pay for a lot of this. The project that I saw that was, as far as wetlands, was just absolutely insane. The taxpayers are paying it. That's our $80 million, so you probably know which one I'm talking about. When you drive into town here, why can't the debris piles go away before the fair? The shoulder roads have been recent equipment in there, the pavement's chewed up on the edge of the road. That's Eversource's responsibility. This guy's trying with his crews out there to do best he can. But don't people see those things? All it takes is a 40-foot trailer to go in there with a pulp load, and they're everywhere, moving structures around and mats around and everything else. And I suspect stuff like that is contracted out to another entity to get to it when they can. Maybe we don't want to see that mess down there with Fair Weekend. So it's things like that, and you wonder what puts you in poor light when these projects are done. It's things like that. Maybe I see them more than anybody else, but I saw the stuff before my own eyes in Durham, and I don't want what happened 2 years ago down here to happen again. I travel that area, I walk that area, I hunt that area, I snowshoe that area. Last time the work was done down there, it stayed that way. It stayed a mess right through the winter months. A little bit of proactive, and I look at several incidents I've seen recently, and if anything proactive had been done, and people were following up what they should be doing, we wouldn't be talking about it. Simple as that. The holes here and the holes in the other towns and the project on the seacoast, a long ways to go. But I've seen enough to say that people are not doing their jobs. I see stuff like that. I happened to stop, and it was so bad I took some photographs. And then I waited about 3 weeks for the report, for the environmental report to come up on it, and the environmental report said everything was perfect. Come on, give me a break. Make it happen. Make it happen here. Make sure that's in good shape, and then he's gonna do the work, and he's gonna do it right. Make the little things happen for us out here. That's all I've got to say to that.
Okay. Anybody else?
I think just to follow up on that, those points, the last project that we had
On that location?
for Deerfield,
Yeah.
the work was done to our satisfaction,
Right.
to our consultant, and also the Conservation Commission had taken a look at it too, so.
Yeah.
certainly the issue-
The project you're talking about was that one we had a couple of years ago.
Right.
Which,
which was a
everything you
problem.
said, there was an issue.
Right.
But the last one, they followed through. And that's what we're expecting.
Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'm of the mind, right now, the weather's good as far as
Yeah.
dry conditions, so I'm not of one, we need to delay this.
Right. What do we have for bond?
You haven't
Previously.
established.
What did we do with the last one? What was the amount? Do you guys, what was
Do
it?
you remember what it was? It was either 2,000 or
Do we do,
3,000.
do we
I
do
can't
for each
remember.
site, or do we do it for the project?
I think we did at the project.
We did it for the project.
It was for the project. You
Yeah.
required a bond for each project,
Right,
and
And then
also escrow money.
Escrow for the inspection.
right.
Escrow for inspections, and
I think we
bring it.
went for like $2,000 on inspections.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think the,
10?
10
10 for the bond?
for the bond for both towers.
maybe that's what I'm remembering.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to make a motion?
Yeah,
to
we'll
that
make a
effect?
motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the conditional use permit for Eversource for the work identified tonight with a stipulation that a bond for $10,000 restoration bond be posted with the town, and also a escrow account in the amount of $2,000 to cover inspections by our consultant to take a look at the project based on a pre-construction meeting, and also whatever number of meetings that or inspections that
Are required.
are required. And the said $2,000 may need to be increased if
If you go over.
if we go over.
Um,
And the conditions.
I guess one of the things is if, how soon would you be able to hold a pre-construction meeting?
Next week at the
Okay.
earliest, I would say.
So we would
How
need,
about posting the bond and the escrow account?
It'll just take as long as it would to process internally. I mean, we could get the ball rolling tomorrow on that and probably have it by next week as well.
yeah, so if you had all that ready, our engineer is Keach Nordstrom, because he's gonna go to the pre-construction meeting.
Yeah, right.
I guess if you get all that, we would need to notify him when you guys want to do the pre-construction meeting.
Okay.
Now, do we want them to notify Keach, or do we need to do it?
Probably easier if they did it, right? They could schedule.
Yeah, because if,
The-
the inspector's name is Jeff Quirk,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, we've dealt with him before.
you've got his numbers?
Yeah, you've
Okay.
talked to them before.
So I guess the big thing would be is to get your bond and everything like that, and then, make sure Jeff is aware of it, and you guys get your pre-construction meeting and get it scheduled.
I guess we need to have the bond and the escrow established, and then we can.
Prior to the work start.
Yeah, and I think we should be contacting Keach Nordstrom just to say everything is in place.
Right,
Yeah.
And then they can schedule the pre-con.
right.
Do
So
you
you
want anybody with the town involved with the pre-construction meeting, or just the representative from Keach
Well,
Nordstrom?
we can ask the Conservation Commission if they want to be out there.
Yeah. At this point, the big thing would be just to make sure that Keach Nordstrom's there, because he's the
Right.
one that's gonna be doing the inspections.
Sure.
And like I said, we'll notify the Conservation Commission, and, I guess it would, anybody from the town could show up. The question is whether or not they'll be able to make it to the meeting. As long as they know about it, they have the option.
Right.
But the most important thing will be is that you're with Jeff Quirk from Keach Nordstrom.
Mr. Chairman, we need a second.
Second.
Okay?
Second, I was gonna ask, did I
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
a second?
I was waiting
We were,
for, jump in there.
we're still rambling. We were getting it all in. So, all those in favor?
All right.
Aye. We're all set?
Thank you.
Okay.
Got a long wait there, Bill.
I know, well, you guys were on a roll.
A lot of clarification.
Okay, can I have one of those back?
Yep.
I don't care about just one. I don't- two.
Actually, you can have them all.
Two, all three, nobody wants them, okay. As long as I have one.
Okay.
A few minutes for him.
Yeah, we got 5 or 6 minutes. Yeah, I mean, certainly don't want to wait for that,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
because,
as long as they can get that stuff in.
let's get it done.
the rain's gonna come whether they're ready or not.
Right now. I mean, we don't want to stop that anyways. We don't, certainly don't want them out there in rain.
Right.
Not in the wetlands, that's
No,
gonna make
well,
things
it just makes it a mess. Can it be done? It's just harder.
Right.
It's just
Yeah.
plain,
I agree.
it's just harder.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, long range right now, I mean, it looks like we're supposed to get some rain tomorrow night, maybe.
Right. But that's it, that's all it's saying.
Yeah. And then, it's still gonna be relatively dry. So,
Oh, yeah.
all it's
A lot
looking
of my
like
grass is turning brown.
more chemicals. Spray paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, spray paint.
All I got is John Deere yellow, so
Yeah, that one, ooh, that's not I'll tell everybody it's straw.
Okay. Well, I got some
I'm growing new grass.
Got some John Deere green, I suppose.
Yeah, you could do that. That one, this is the new one right
Oh,
here.
yeah, that's, is it? I don't know.
Yeah, this one is for Candia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a plan,
All
and
right.
these are also plans. If anybody wants to share anything, this has got a different one.
We wanna-
These,
These are the latest.
I don't know if there's something up.
Oh, is that the updated plan? Oh, good.
Those are easier to,
Yeah,
all I have are these.
thanks.
You brought in the last one. Oh, thank you.
All right. Hold on to that one.
Yeah, you don't need that one then. For all these for that one.
We gotta wait a couple of minutes. We're still 5 minutes off.
Yeah, yeah. That's that one.
Okay, in accordance with RSA 674:53, you are hereby notified that the Deerfield Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, September 25th, 2019, at 7:45 PM at the George B. White Building, South Raymond Road, Deerfield, New Hampshire, for review and input on proposed 5-lot residential subdivision in Candia, New Hampshire, map 402, lots 51 and 57, located on Courier Road. The applicants and owners are Armin and Susan Hebert of 2000 Cedar Street, Mackenzie, Tennessee. You are invited to attend this public hearing and offer your comments. If you are unable to be present, the board will accept your comments in writing prior to the hearing and read them aloud at the hearing. Now, this is just a continuation, because we've had Jason here before, right?
We haven't had a public hearing, though. This is.
Oh, we didn't?
No,
Okay.
this is the first
So
public
we
hearing.
need to accept this then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to make a motion to accept the application.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Take it away, Jason.
Good evening. Jason Lopez, Keach Nordstrom Associates, here to represent Armin and Susan Hebert. Just because this is the first public hearing and some individuals here this evening, I'll go through a quick summary of what I've covered before. So Armin and Susan own 2 lots in Candia. All the property is in Candia. It's on Courier Road. They are consolidating, seeking to consolidate the 2 lots and then re-subdivide into 5 lots, creating 3 additional lots. The frontage for 4 of those lots is on the right-of-way, which is the town line between Candia and Deerfield. Under RSA 674-53, land affected by municipal boundaries, it requires us to present to both communities. And in Deerfield, we have the driveway access to those lots. So we need to seek limited input to the proposal to obtain the board's signature on the final plan to be recorded in the Registry of Deeds. We met on a preliminary discussion basis back on July 10th. We met again back on August 28th. At that meeting, we agreed to have a site walk on Sunday, September 8th. So a group of us met out there, we walked through, we had the driveway locations staked, took a look at those areas. While out at the site walk, we were discussing, the road width, the shoulders, and so forth. And part of that discussion, we were talking about providing a 10, 15-foot wide drainage easement going along the full frontage of the property should future maintenance and road work, ditch work need to be done, does need to be done in some areas. That would provide the rights through this application for that be reserved for use. I have not yet shown that. If you'd come to the first public hearing, we can have that discussion and see, what the board wants on that, and that will be added to the plan. We have met with Candia. Candia finally accepted the preliminary application before their board and approved it that evening. Then we have a meeting coming up on October 16th, and that is the final application approval process. So Stantec is their consultant review engineer. They have conducted their first review. We are in process of making all those revisions before completing the plans and putting out another plan set, looking to get any input from you. We'll have Stantec's items addressed. We also need to meet with the highway agent, roadway agent over in Candia and incorporate all that information. Then we'll be ready to reissue new revised plans. So with that, I can talk through the plan if it would be beneficial for anyone, or I can take questions.
You are abutters?
What is that?
It's not my phone, okay? Must be an asteroid.
Aliens.
Okay. Deerfield or
I
Candia?
have no idea where that came from.
Okay, you live in Candia?
Yes.
And
Deerfield.
you live in Deerfield, okay.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason, so we know who they are.
I know you two have been in Candia. Were you present at any of the Candia presentations?
Okay.
So, as you come in off Podunk is over this direction, and the roadway.
We're directly across from it. It's the Allen and Smith property next to Cheryl Hutchins. There's 35 acres at Cheryl Hutchins.
Okay, it must be right, this lot here?
If it says Allen on it, the last plan that I saw.
I think it's
Or it
right
still says
where your
Hutchins.
finger is now, I think, Jason.
Oh, okay, all right, so you know where that is. So they have a smaller piece here, and then the larger parcel. So combining those, and then will come the minimum frontage, area for these 4 lots, and then a very large 16-acre back lot here. So we've done test pits, soil work, wetlands, we've worked with the Conservation Commission, Fish and Game, State Wetlands Board. We have 2 wetland crossings that we applied for driveways on these 2 lots. So that's the proposal. So if this is your property here, we have 2 lots over in this direction. These more specific questions, I'd be happy to address them.
I was just discussing with Fred, Jason, and Bill, we had talked about that, like 15 feet here for maintenance. What we were wondering is, when they do the site work on the lots, is if they could cut that out, all that fill in that 15-foot area, to try to get a ditch line in there.
Can that be handled through a note? Because right now, I currently don't have a note on here about Deerfield's requirement for the driveway permit. So I should add a note about that the driveway.
Yeah, I mean, that
permit
would-
is required.
Because the driveway will have to be inspected by Mark,
And,
Right.
you know,
or the highway, the
to work with
Yeah.
highway department for the construction of that.
Of, yeah, of a swale, because on one of them, well, actually, the first lot that comes into Deerfield where the property corner comes in, that's already low, so most of the water's already going in there. And then we come up that hill, and then it goes back down the other way. So some of it would be going to the northwest, and some would be going to the southwest, or southeast, I should say. If they could get a ditch in there, because it looks like it got wet down on the bottom corner, down there. If there's a swale, so at least, we can get the road wider there. The poles are where the poles are right now, though obviously, nobody's moving the poles, but if we could get the water to stop running down the road and get it into a ditch, I think we'd be better off.
So that ditch line would probably be behind the pole.
It would have to be behind the poles.
Yeah.
And then that way, at least, if they get a crown on the road, we can get the water runoff, because right now, the water's going into the road before it does anything. So I think if we could just get the 15-foot maintenance easement, and then have the builders cut the swale in, and just have it part of the inspection for the driveway permit. I think that's the way we want to handle that. You got any ideas?
I was thinking about the possibility of requiring some type of bond to make sure that's done.
No driveway permit.
Yeah, just,
Because you have to get a signed permit.
yeah, right, well, I don't know what Candy would end up requiring on a building permit.
I guess the question is, do we do the driveway permit? And then
Probably should be us, but.
we should be doing the driveway permit because it goes onto the Deerfield section of the road.
Right.
The building permit goes through Candia.
Correct.
So that's why I think we probably should think about it, requiring some type of bond to make.
Or I think, we could do that, but I also think maybe, we could require, a plan for the driveway permit.
Or a plan for the culvert, for the ditch.
Yeah. And while you're thinking about that, the driveway for lot 57, required site distance has the knob in there, so you'd be removing that. And again, I think need to have some assurance that that's gonna be taken care of.
Yeah.
But appears the site distance for that lot does go across lot, what,
51,
51?
yeah.
And would you be calling for basically a line of sight easement?
Yes.
Okay,
That was one of the comments we're addressing with Candy.
from Candy, okay,
Yeah,
good,
we're providing a sight line. This plan here is not showing that, but
okay,
you will be providing that.
okay.
Certainly, if you're comfortable writing that into the condition. So
Mm-hmm,
it stays on the list for when you guys do a final review for sign-off.
Right.
That's fine.
and then you also mentioned the couple of trees across the.
Well, that's
That's on the other side of the road.
on the other side.
Yeah.
That's, it's something we need to take care of. It's something that we should have been.
Well, we could have them take care of it as well.
I'll be honest with you, it's something we should be taking care of, okay? That's how,
Yeah.
that's how bad it is. It's not their fault. I looked, first Bill and I looked right at it and we were like, why is this
But
still
it's still
here?
here, yeah.
Okay.
It's right where there could be a ditch.
It's, if we drove out there and I point that out to you, you'll look at it and go, why is that tree still there
Yeah.
after all these years? That's how bad it is,
Mhm.
okay? I'm not gonna make them take care of that. Per Fred, what kind of, would you draw on your final set, a ditch line in the plan? Or would you just use a generic, like a detail?
Yeah, because we could have them do a profile for the ditch, and then a cross-section of the ditch. Obviously would,
Recommended that on each lot,
right,
for each lot,
right, and then.
for the full frontage.
For the full frontage. And I guess it doesn't appear that it carries a lot of water.
No.
So a 12-inch culvert under each driveway should be sufficient.
I would think so. The only, I guess, stated, just so we can talk it out, the owners are looking to sell these lots off. They'd be happy to sell them all to one builder. They may sell them off individually. They might sell within 2 weeks of listing. They might have them in 2 years.
Yeah,
So in terms of the physical construction of that work or the bonding, how that can be handled, I guess, talk that part of it out.
well, that's what I'm sitting there trying to think of, how much do we want to require?
And is that
You gotta do
something
it per
that
lot then, so that, because the lots may be separated.
Well, because the only problem with that is that if it's a lot in the middle, then we'll have partial ditch, but then we won't have either side.
No place for it to go.
Right. So I think what we'd need is for them, basically, if they're gonna, may sell within the next couple months, or it may take a couple of years, or it may be necessary to
Maybe we should just have,
require them to go out and actually put the ditch in.
the best way to have it is to have the ditch put in, Jason,
Right.
and the driveways put in.
And driveways
Put
put
the
in.
driveways in where you guys want them, that way nobody moves them,
Right.
and then it's done,
Then we
and there's no
release-
more worries,
Then we release
Yeah.
the bond.
and then, all of that work can be done in a couple of days, worst case, a week.
Yes.
This particular lot right here is already low, so the water is coming to this, so there really isn't gonna be much ditch work there. And this section that you're doing the line of sight easement, where you're clearing that, you got a lot of work there already. So, it's just a matter of them putting the ditch in. And that's in Candia. That's all in Candia.
Yeah, right.
That's all Candia. The line of sight one?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all Candia. So technically, we can't say anything about that anyway. But the,
Well, we
From the standpoint
line of sight.
that we,
Yeah.
well,
line
from
of
line of
sight.
sight, yes.
for that particular driveway.
Right. But as far as this, the way the land breaks, this lot here, which is what, 57-1 proposed?
Yeah.
Okay. So everything, like I said, will go to the next lot. So there's really only that frontage for ditch line going that way, and then the other two lots are going downhill, back the other way. So it'd just probably be better if you guys put the ditch in and it's done, and then the driveways are in,
Put your culverts in, yeah.
put the culverts in, and then we're out of the loop.
And then
We're out of the loop. I think that might be the best way to do it. And then, if they ever update the power lines, there's
Right,
room to move them.
right.
There's an easement there.
And 15 feet is what you said for easement?
I think, yeah, if they can go from the property line in 15 feet, that should be more than sufficient to build a ditch.
That'll cover to be able to future maintenance of the ditch and
Yeah.
so forth.
Yeah.
Some of the back slope, depending, might extend outside of that.
Yeah.
but That shouldn't be a issue with maintenance of the thread of the ditch.
Right, once the ditch is built, it should be fine. I guess that's the only way to
Yeah.
move forward on that section of road. The other side, the town has just let it go for so many years, you know.
Cam, did you have any comments on this?
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No,
Cam.
that's okay. No, I didn't come with any comments, but I think you guys are on the right track. I think this is
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
the best
that's,
way to go.
you know,
is-
like we talked about when we were out there on Sunday, that was the biggest thing we saw, is all the water running in the road. Obviously, it's dry right now, so there's no water, but, it was just, you guys have the owners take care of that, and then, I think that's all we care about, is making sure that the road can be cleaned and maintained and plowed, so that the snow is not staying in the road, because that rock wall goes that whole way, so the snow can't be pushed off the road, it just gets pushed up and into the road.
Push it up for it to fall back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear, I'll present this to my client, that's the one.
Yeah, I mean,
issue,
it's,
kind of an absent client.
I mean, we've,
a little
this
ways away.
isn't something out of the ordinary, we've done this on a lot of roads, just because of the age of the roads and the things that need to be done in order to kind of bring them up to a better situation. There's certainly a lot of them are not up to where we'd like them to be, but they're just gotta be a little bit better. And one of the things it just needs a place that, at least that they have a place to push snow and we can get the water off the road so it's not running right down the road, you know, taking the gravel down into the ditch anyway. So, comments?
Oh, I was just chuckling because of hearing you address the problem that we have, because where we live, the water is taking the gravel down the road and into the lake, so it's good to hear that you provide for that. I'm just curious about what kind of an instrument do you use, or do you just make it a condition that you have to be granted the easement before this goes forward? What if they don't want to? Would you buy an easement, or would it?
Well, then they wouldn't.
Well, no, then we don't have to
Consent.
grant an approval.
Right.
It's not like we're asking for something just to ask for it, we're asking for the road maintenance, which benefits everybody. I mean, that's what, I build roads, it needs a lot of work out there, and we know that either town is going to pave the road, because nobody wants to spend the money. Would it be nice if the roads were paved? Probably, but then the complaint of cars going too fast would be the next thing.
Yeah.
So, at this particular point, my primary concern is, and Fred's an engineer and Bill's in construction as well, is trying to keep the road from falling apart as best we can, because it's a gravel road. Excuse me. And the way to do that is to have a ditch to allow the water and snow to be taken off the road. And then when a grader goes by, it's got something to work with. As opposed to a road that goes up like this on both sides, and when he grades the road, he's got the water just running down the road. Excuse me. So that's where we come from on asking for an easement. They obviously don't have to give it to us, but it's their ultimate goal. It behooves them. It gets all their stuff squared away. Their driveways, when the driveways come down, the water goes into the ditch, not out into the road. You know, that's just basic construction. We're not supposed to take the water from the property, dump it in the road. So if we have ditches, we can at least start getting this road going in the right direction. It's gonna take a while, but we gotta start somewhere, and that's basically what we're looking at. Jason, he knows, he's an engineer, so he knows all about roads. And his clients might not be happy about it, but it's for everybody. It's not just for those driveways. It saves the town money from having to constantly go over there and regrade and try to figure out, how we're gonna solve a problem with the same space. So it just needs some more room. It's not a 50-foot right-of-way right there anyway. So, at this particular point, if we got 15 feet, that probably brings us up to about 45 or 50, or close to 50 if we go 15.
That's what we've done in the past, too.
Yeah,
We've done that, yes.
We've done in the past is required dedication, half the shortage
yeah.
that we have, so rather than having 15-foot easement, what do we have for, Jason, what do you have for width in there currently?
This area about 30 feet, 30
Right.
feet, then you get down this end, we're up to 50 feet,
Yeah.
as it.
It's that one stretch with lot 57-1 and 57-2. That's pretty narrow right in there.
You got a long stretch here that's 30 feet, and then it starts to taper up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we can get, 57-1, we start going to where the road's wider, we can get that water where it's already headed. The only difference is we'll get it in a ditch. And I see what you're saying. On the other two
Right.
lots is to try to get it out to 50? Is that what you're thinking?
But,
Yeah, but you usually gain it some on each side when you.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, see, the thing is, it will be lopsided.
Yeah.
I know, but would you be looking basically at roughly 10 feet until it gets down to where it's widening, and then that would just run into, and looking for nothing in there, or at least.
Yeah, because, you're right. Once it gets up to 50, we shouldn't need anything, but that's where the
Right.
water's heading already.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So it's 57-1 and 57-2 and 57-3. The water's already heading down there at the end of 57-1. It's 57-2 and 3 that need to get that ditch going back
Yeah.
the other way. And you need the 15 feet there. Maybe you get away with 10 on 57-1, or just have it progress from 15 to 10, where it gets out to 50 feet. Because that one section we were standing on there, that you could just see,
Pretty narrow.
that was the worst
Yeah,
point
right.
right there.
Yeah.
So, I think, Jason, when you take a look at it again, you probably can, once you get it on the computer, probably figure it out a lot quicker.
I heard, we were talking easement, and then I heard the word dedication.
Yeah,
You looking now, instead of the easement, dedication of right-of-way?
mm-hmm.
Now, is that something that the planning board, or is that something that would have to go before the selectmen for?
That,
I'm not sure how
right.
Deerfield operates in that.
Typically, what, in the past, it wouldn't go before the Board of Selectmen, it would just be from the planning board. Basically, you'd be showing it on your plan that they would be dedicating that 10 feet to the road as part of the right-of-way. And,
Now, how's that gonna affect the town line?
well,
You
that's
would have
what I'm thinking, too.
Deerfield would then own right-of-way. No, that would be Candia's right-of-way, because it's Candia's property
Right,
beyond that wall.
So,
So that would be
I'll
Candia's
stick with the
right-of-way.
easement.
maybe stick with the easement.
Stick with the easement,
Okay.
okay?
Yeah.
Because then that just turns this thing into something else, okay? And that we don't wanna do.
Relax.
We wanna be able to take care of the
Right.
road.
So we'd call that a roadway maintenance easement,
Correct,
15 feet wide.
right, just to maintain the road,
To Deerfield.
right,
Right.
Maintenance.
just a maintenance easement for the town of Deerfield.
Yeah.
Grading, drainage, utilities.
Right.
Right.
All that.
Yeah.
That'll allow you to move.
The pole,
utilities.
Right.
whatever, yeah.
Yeah, if, I don't know if that's co-op or public service out there, but at least if they decided they wanted to get the poles out of the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess the easement would end up being cleaner
Yes,
than
Yeah.
trying to mess around with the
Yeah.
dedication.
Yeah.
yeah, because,
I'll go along with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, once you take a look at it, should we, I mean, I already know which way the water's gonna go, but maybe you should put some arrows on it too, so everybody would know. You know, ditch line this way, ditch line that way.
Because he's gonna do a profile on the
Right.
ditch anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, as well as a location for it as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then put the driveway locations like you already have.
He has-
You already have them,
Yeah.
and just go from there.
And we had previously talked about the possibility of impact fees, but the fact that you'll be doing the ditch,
Instead, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
that will
Yeah,
basically
that-
take care of
That
that
would take care of that.
responsibility.
So do you want to have a conditional approval?
Let's see,
You still have to go back before, I'm sorry.
Thanks. I'm Tom St. Martin, for the record. I live down on Courier Road, on the Putnam side, obviously.
Yeah,
Before you wrap up the business of the driveway, I wonder if it's worth considering, you're talking about taking some water that's in the road now and putting that into the lots. And, you know, Candia appreciates the additional water for our aquifer and all. But with all the vernal pools that are on this, I'm wondering if water coming in off of the dirt road, where that's gonna go, whether that's,
it goes there already.
well, it sounds like it's running down the road.
Right, and then it goes into the, off the side of the road, and the low area on lot 57 is where it goes right now.
Is-
The water runs right down there, and at least if it got into a ditch,
It would go to the same place.
it's still gonna go to the same place.
Yeah.
The only difference is, eventually a ditch is gonna slow the water down.
Right.
Okay? It's gonna grow in with some grass and stuff like that, and which is gonna slow the water. And we can have some check dams in there, but if it just continues to run right down the road, it's taking all the gravel with it,
Oh, I know.
right in.
Yeah.
And it's taking all the,
Yeah.
it's taking the winter sand as it is, but with no ditch line, it just goes right in.
Yeah.
So the
Yep.
purpose of the ditch, it does function to help,
Yeah.
if, for lack of a better term, try to clean the water. I mean, other than building level spreaders and all kinds of stuff like that,
Right.
which
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's almost impossible based on there unless they're gonna rebuild the whole road, okay?
Yeah.
And I know that Candy is not doing that, and I know that Deerfield's not doing that. So the best way we can work with this right now is to get some ditch lines in there, to get the water off the road and running through a ditch before it goes into the wetlands.
I didn't realize that it all eventually came on
Oh,
to
yeah.
the same property now. I thought
Yeah.
it went on down. past this
If we
road.
were looking at it, if you look at the layout of the road, it goes like this. So the water, half the water's going this way and the other half is going this way. So
Yeah.
it's not all functioning going to one position, one place. So, and, if given, if this works out and the owners agree to do all this stuff, we can start getting a crown in the road, you can get the water to shed to both sides, as opposed to just like a river going and then wherever it goes. Because right now, that low area is right in front of lot 57, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all the water, even from the Candia side, there's a little hill coming down that way, we got water going in there from both sides of that lot, okay? And the water from lot 57-1 goes into lot 57. And then once you get to lot 57-2 and 3, the water's going back the other way. And a ditch is gonna help, disperse that water a little bit better. Particularly in the spring, because the snow should be off the road a little more, unless they take out the poles and you don't have power.
Wouldn't be the first time I didn't have power.
So, I mean, that's, at this particular point, based on what's going on that road, and I'm sure that a lot of people would like to see a lot of money spent on that road, but it probably will not happen. That's a warrant article issue.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to do is just make what we have a little bit better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I also have another point that I'd like to bring up that, again, it's on the Deerfield side, so it doesn't affect me directly, but the simple fact is 5 more houses going in out there. is definitely going to impact the traffic out there. Obviously, most of that traffic is typically gonna come my way because I'm closer to a tar road than the other end of that road. But it's dead certain that at least some of that traffic is gonna go down toward the Wingspur Ranch. And certainly on our end, one of the issues is that basically the road has sections that are substandard, that are just not up to the kind of traffic that it's seeing now. With, Tenard goes out there, there's a tractor trailer guy that commutes out there, there's 2 school buses, there's, you know, UPS, there's FedEx, whatnot. So there's a lot of traffic out there already. There's going to be some impact on the traffic going down toward Wing Spur, as I mentioned. And some of that road, like, you get past, like, or you get by Isabel's house, I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I
that
know who he
house,
is.
But, you know, the road is, it's not real wide right there. And you've got a half a dozen or so houses in Deerfield that are right on the road, all along that northern side of the road. So there's a traffic impact there that I haven't heard discussed yet. And, you know, like I said, it's a Deerfield issue, but, you know, here I am, it's a Deerfield issue. I don't know whether you guys have thought about that side or not.
I would just add to that, you mentioned you were out on Sunday, and however dry it's been this last couple of weeks, right at our property, at the end of our property, right where Bear Brook State Park begins or ends, whichever way you want to put it, down that hill, is completely trashed right now. And we haven't had rain in weeks. And there's sections that are completely missing, there's big ditches in it, and it's being stuck.
When did that happen?
It's been that way for several weeks, since
even
the
after the
spring rains.
Just not just the wetlands, it's the heavy rains too.
It washes that out, and then, I don't know if it's technically Deerfield Road or Candia Road, but it doesn't get addressed. So it's a big section from our property line down for Bear Brook, and that water is gonna keep coming. We have water in our basement, a ton of water in our basement. From what we understand from the former owner, there's 3 different springs in that area, and they all drain to this side.
And I know we can't predict the future. You said a ditch should remedy the situation.
It's not gonna remedy it, it's gonna help it.
Yeah.
Right, but
The difference between remedy
if
and
you're
help.
talking one side of the road-
Big difference.
You're talking one side of the road and not the other, so.
Well, the thing about it is that if you have more room to work, period, it helps you on both sides. One of the things I noticed, the Deerfield side. In the old days, when they built the road like that, it was clean the topsoil off
You're right.
and build a road. That was it. That's not the way you can build them anymore. Unfortunately, some of these roads are very old, and through the years, they've just said, okay, and here we are. You know, to go upgrade the roads to where they should be for a current standard, gonna be tough.
But then that has, as you said, the impact of traffic. If you have up to 20 more cars, if each, the Deerfield standard, I think, is 4 cars per household. If you have this many more vehicles on traveling that road, and the road is not gonna get upgraded, then that means it's gonna degrade even more quickly than it is now.
Well,
with the
technically,
roads that are on it now.
what they're doing by granting an easement is upgrading. Technically. Now, does that take care of the other
problems.
mile? No. I hear every word you're saying. I'm just telling you, as they are making an upgrade. There's only, to a certain point, we can ask certain things. Then there's a point where we're asking for things that are not gonna happen.
But what if it's determined, has it been determined that the road can actually handle the additional traffic if you have another 10, 15, 20 cars
Well,
traveling it?
that probably should have been done 20 houses ago.
But
if
that
you-
doesn't change the fact that
It
you're
didn't-
now in a situation that
Well,
they're looking at adding 5
exactly.
more houses.
Yeah.
Well, one of them is in Candia, which we have no say on. And 4, well, yes, we do, but technically, if they wanted to, they could,
Yeah.
you know, you could build a road, I suppose, pretty expensive road. Cost prohibitive. So, if the owners wanted to invest that kind of money, they could have Jason design a road in here, which would be worse, because it just would make a mess of everything. As far as the car count, I'm sure that the,
Typically, it's 10 trips per lot
for the day,
for the day.
so,
So basically 40 trips
Per day.
per day. And then, as you said, some will go one way and some will go the other way.
Everyone's gonna go toward Dakota because it's closer and it's.
They'll probably go to the easiest. Yeah.
Mostly, some people work in Raymond, they might go that way, but, you know, people go all sorts of different ways. And our end of the road gets bad, everybody goes the narrow.
Right.
Well, and it's, yeah, the section where you are is very, very narrow, that you can't, like, two cars can't pass at driving, somebody has to pull to the side to go. And especially, like, we had, the tree company was out for, I don't even know how long on that road,
Yep.
trimming, and we couldn't, you can't get by with anything bigger than like a Prius.
Now, is that the section of Currier Road in Candia?
Yes.
Okay, so basically, we don't have any control over that. That's Candia's planning board.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just be speaking at random, I want to be sure that I'm in order so that we don't sound out chaotic. But, I do want to reiterate, you do have some leverage, I believe, in the idea that the traffic will impact other parts of the Deerfield Road. How much, I don't know, but I thought very much that the section of road by Isabel's, or just past your house, is really what anybody would consider a standard, normal, standard kind of road that's safe for passage of.
Well, it is, because it's been accepted by the towns for, I don't know how many years, okay?
Yeah.
So just because it's been a road and it's been there for X amount of years, it's accepted. There's a difference between acceptance and a brand-new highway standard, okay?
Yep, I understand that.
Okay.
Sort of grandfathering.
Yeah.
I understand that, and I don't want to argue with.
No, I understand that, and I understand you guys' concerns about the amount of cars that are in there.
Can I point out one other thing?
Go ahead.
And with no intent of refuting what you said, but I do feel a little bit like, it's always been like this, so now we're gonna add 5 more houses, or it's been like this a long time, now we're gonna add a couple houses down on Low Acres. I feel a little bit like the frog in the boiling water. You know? It's just a couple more.
Well-
Okay, I can take a couple more.
Yeah.
Well, the difference between, we have another situation on the other end of town involving another town, okay? And it's much worse than this. And it's gone on for a long time, and there's something to work with here. On the other location, there's nothing to work with. And the only way that we can, to do this, is to go this route, is to get the land or easements
As we can.
as they come down.
Yeah.
Somebody down the road somewhere is gonna wanna do something here.
Yep.
And then we're gonna have to ask for an easement to make it happen, so we can start getting a 50-foot right-of-way, so we can have a real roadway and start working on bringing it up. I mean, the other location that we're talking about, there's nothing that they can do,
Yeah.
other than literally spending millions of dollars to buy people's land, and that's not gonna happen. In this particular situation, we're gonna get, Jason, what's the rough frontage on that? Probably 800, 900 feet?
Yeah.
So we're getting 900 feet of that road wider.
Yeah.
And that's a start, and that's how we have to do it,
I can definitely see how that.
okay? And
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's people who live on that road that probably would not want to grant easements to the town and give up. They still own the land, but they probably wouldn't want an easement on the front of their property to make the road wider. So the only way to do it is through this method. And that's the way we can start upgrading the road. To get that road fixed between Candia and Deerfield, take a long time
I know.
and a lot of money.
We've improved now just to get it plowed every year during the snowstorms.
But I'm sure you can understand, we're talking about driveway access without addressing other access.
Well, I understand, but we gotta start somewhere. We have to start somewhere. That's the first thing that Bill and I looked at when we were there with Jason, is that, you know, in order to make this road a little better, we need a little more,
Yeah.
you know? Go ahead.
Well, the improvements you're making won't help us, and it will facilitate a problem that makes our situation worse. But that's not what that's just the preface. I applaud your work here, because I think you're really doing the right thing in terms of trying to improve the road when you have an opportunity.
So I do know somebody that is dealing with this from the Candia perspective. I'll tell them to, you know, make sure they start working on your road. No, I doubt they'll listen to me, but, you know, I'll make the effort.
Well, Dennis has done a pretty good job by us within the constraints of what he's got to work with.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, when it's over capacity already, and you look at adding 5 more houses, and we're not happy about raising these points. I mean, you know, we've been neighbors of Armin and Susan for like, you know, 25 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of, no matter which way we turn, it's just not a comfortable situation. You know?
Yeah.
Well, so I think that what we need to do is, Jason, take our suggestions, get them on a piece of paper. And we obviously want to see him again.
Oh, yeah, right, yeah.
Um,
And you probably, not probably, since you're,
When's your meeting? October what?
16th, I believe it was.
Do we want to see him before he goes? What do we have on, for our schedules?
Well, the meeting in October, the, 23rd, I guess, I'm trying to find my calendar here. I have 4 separate public hearings. It's gonna be a long one. Is it the 20? I'm trying to.
Well, our next meeting,
Our next meeting is October 9th.
9th, right.
But that's before
That's before his meeting.
his meeting, so you don't wanna do it then.
Well,
oh, we could.
you know, it'd actually be better for him,
Okay,
right? If you meet with us before you go to the 16th.
Yep.
That gives him, you
no,
know.
actually, that's the night we have 4 separate public
Okay, on the
hearings.
16th? Okay,
The 9th,
the
we
9th.
have the heavy, we have a big,
okay.
got Conservation Commission coming in, they wanna talk about zoning. Got lot line adjustment, 2 subdivisions in Gulf Road.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
puts
well,
you out to the
that's-
It really
23rd.
makes
too
it
much.
for
Yeah, no, that's,
it'll probably be 10 o'clock before we
No.
heard them.
yeah, so we'll
The
have
next
to,
meeting, it would be
the 23rd.
the 23rd, yes, my mistake, I'm thinking,
Okay. We can see you on the 23rd, Jason.
is that good for you?
So what we should end up having, obviously, is a plan and profile with a proposed ditch, and cross-sections of the ditch, and since
Show the driveway locations.
driveway locations, obviously showing the 12-inch culverts there, and you guys might as well prepare a cost estimate too for that as well.
You know what? Just make it a 15-inch culvert, Jason, because the 12 inches just plug up too quick. forever ripping them out and fixing them, so just make it 15. And the price and the difference isn't much different.
No,
It's not.
It's mostly labor.
Yeah,
right.
and it's not even labor. It's just the cost of the pipe, because
Yeah.
15 and 12 was pretty much the same.
Right.
It's just 12-inch pipes plug up real quick, even with nothing, leaves or whatever. So, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, so then you do a cost estimate for that work and have your, advise your client that it'd be necessary to post a bond for that amount, whatever that price is going to be.
All right, now again, on the posting of the bond, where they are not going to be the end users.
Well, they're gonna have to build it right now.
Yeah, that's the way to do this. Just build it now.
Build it now.
Build it now, get it over with. Because
And
then we
we're-
have nothing to do with it again. Because the driveways will be in, and the ditch will be built, and we'll have approved it.
And, yeah, it'll be all done.
And it will be all done.
And release the bond, and then they can sell the lots whenever they want.
Yeah.
But if.
And then that way, the driveway won't move.
The process makes sense. I have to present it.
I know. They're not looking at it from, they don't want that phone call. No,
I
but
don't want to make that phone call.
it's just,
Yeah, I
it's just,
understand.
it's the cleanest way for us to be gone.
Yeah.
You know, put it in, and we sign off on it, and it's done.
It's done.
I have a question. I'm really fascinated by the easement from Fort Deerfield into Candia boundaries, which is just kind of interesting.
Well, it's not-
to me in general.
The landowner is granting an easement, not Candia.
So what I'm leading up to is a question, and I don't know, maybe this would be automatic in the easement, but who maintains the ditch? Is
The
that,
town,
That's gonna be
Down
it
Deerfield.
would be Deerfield.
okay,
Yeah.
so the easement will have to include something that says maintenance.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah,
what it's
right.
gonna
It
say.
says, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Drainage maintenance, utilities.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Figured it might be boilerplate.
and granted to the town of Deerfield.
Yeah.
It's still Candia land, it's just an easement, that's all it is. And it's gonna help the road. That's what we're looking at, is to make the road
Yeah.
a little bit better.
We had discussed earlier in projects specifically in Deerfield that have too narrow a right-of-way, we would typically require whatever shortage there is in the width. One side would grant a actual dedication of half of that required width with the subdivision. But as we talked earlier, because it marks a town boundary, and it may get things clouded, so it's a lot cleaner just to go with an easement,
Yeah.
and we don't get into changing the town boundary or whatever.
With that earlier discussion, I was wondering, okay, if you have a crime that happens in that area, does the Candia police?
Yeah,
go in?
right.
Well, on the other issue that we have on the other side of town, there's a chance that Northwood couldn't get into this, and Deerfield has to take care of it. And the town of Northwood has been granting stuff for quite a long time, and when we've had the floods, we've had the ice storms and the snowstorms, their people have been cut off from their
Yeah.
emergency services, and Deerfield's had to come in.
Unfortunately, it's not.
It's not as
like that here,
drastic on this one, because you can come in from two ways.
Right.
This one's a one-way in, so.
Okay, so what do we?
Sorry to make you have to make phone calls, Jason.
Make a motion for continuation to October
October 23rd, let's say 7:15.
Yeah,
7:15.
7:15.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Continuation, okay.
Thank you.
Great, thank you for your time.
Do you want these back, Jason?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'll tell Steve you're giving away paper.
All right.
It's
Okay, so you have
I'm
the
good with
budget?
people- With paper.
Yeah, budget. Oh,
I don't have anything.
oh, you don't have it?
Do you have the budget?
John Harrington give you anything?
John Harrington give you a budget?
No, he didn't even talk to me about a budget.
John, get down here right now.
No, he hasn't even mentioned a budget to me.
I talked to him on the phone for an hour.
I talked to him today, I was in there, but we didn't talk about the budget.
All right, I'm
Were
trying to
we
remember-
asking-
Trying to remember what the hell it is. It ends up coming down a bit.
Oh,
Listen, you know that if we were in the federal government, if we cut the increase, that's a cut,
Yeah, right.
okay?
We would end, the budget would end up being a cut.
From this year's budget,
Right.
okay?
Probably a couple grand. But it's leaving Southern New Hampshire budget the same. I think one of the big differences was Jane's time. We had quite a bit of time.
We had
thought I
allotted
was gonna
some
get a
money
raise there from.
to fix our
Yes,
problems. That's why we had more money.
That was the reduction. Most of it was right there because
But did we get all our problems fixed?
I think most of it's taken care of. All the filing.
It's not done.
I think I ended
That's,
up,
I don't care.
I think I
No, well,
budgeted.
it's not
We
done.
haven't, yeah.
I think I budgeted at least 40 hours for additional time to finish that off.
Okay.
But that was a reduction from what we had previously. But yeah, I thought he was gonna forward what
Okay.
the budget was.
And we have a full meeting the next meeting, so we can't go over it. I can't very well vote on the budget without a piece of paper in front of us.
How long do you wanna wait? I can run home right now and get it.
Could you print it out here somehow? Access to a printer or computer? I don't
You'd
know.
have to have your files all set up for being shared. If they're not for being shared, you can't. So forget it.
You guys wanna stick around for 15
We gotta get it
minutes?
done.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, I'll be back shortly.
You off?
Not,
Yeah, we can shut
I
that.
don't know about that.
This-
Minutes on TV.
Do you know how to shut it off?